They weren't just sitting in kimonos waiting for their husbands to return from battle. Some samurai women were the ones holding the sword and the power. But why don't we ever hear about them? When people think of samurai, they picture armored men swinging katanas. But there's a hidden side to this warrior class, one that's barely mentioned in textbooks. Samurai women were real. They were fierce, and their lives were nothing like what you'd expect. These weren't just obedient wives, they were trained killers, defenders of castles, and strategists in war. So why were they erased from history? Why did the role of these powerful women slowly vanish as Japan modernized? In the early days of feudal Japan, being born into a samurai family meant duty, honor, and training, no matter your gender. Girls learned to fight from a young age, often with a weapon called the naginata, a long pole with a curved blade, perfect for slashing from a distance. It wasn't just for show. These women were expected to defend their homes if the men were away at war. Some even led troops. One of the most famous, Tomoe Gozen. She wasn't just skilled, she was legendary. Stories say she rode into battle, cut down enemies like paper, and refused to die quietly. She fought alongside her lord in the Genpei War during the 12th century and was said to be just as brave, if not braver, than any man on the field. And then there were women like Nakano Takeko. She wasn't even officially in the military, yet she led a group of female warriors in the Boshin War in the 1800s. When she was shot, she asked her sister to cut off her head so it wouldn't fall into enemy hands. That's the level of grit we're talking about. These weren't rare cases. Many high-ranking women were trained to fight and commanded respect. But as Japan moved toward peace during the Edo period, things changed. The samurai class still existed, but women were pushed into more feminine roles. They were expected to be loyal, quiet, and polite. Fighting, that was for the men now. Bit by bit, the image of the warrior woman faded. Schools stopped training girls in combat. The naginata became more of a symbol than a weapon. By the time the modern era rolled in, most people had forgotten that samurai women had ever existed outside of stories and legends. But here's the twist. Even today in Japan, some families still teach their daughters naginata techniques. Not for war, but to remember, to honor that hidden legacy. And museums, books, and even martial arts schools are finally starting to bring these women back into the spotlight. Samurai women weren't a myth. They were warriors, leaders, and survivors. Their stories were buried, but now they're rising again, blade in hand, reminding us that history isn't always what we've been told. Watch the next video to uncover more secrets they never taught you in school.